Today, we're going to recap the 2022 action crime movie titled The Roundup. The story begins with a young tourist named Choi meeting up with who he believes is a potential business partner. However, when he enters the van to have a chat with the man, he's attacked. Choi gets stabbed so much that he begins choking on his blood. As he begs them not to kill him, the mastermind of the operation bluntly tells him that he's been kidnapped. The movie shifts to a different scene, and we see a lunatic named Hetty causing trouble outside a store. He uses a knife to scare away the people who try to come near him. He's also holding two ladies hostage, and the police aren't sure how to go about it. Eventually, the person they've been waiting for arrives. Detective Ma Seok-do, one of the toughest cops around. The captain scolds him for arriving late, and Seok-do explains that he was on a blind date. Seok-do tells his two partners to distract Hetty so he can sneak into the store and rescue the hostages. Unfortunately, while they're doing that, he gets clumsy and pushes one of the racks down. Hetty hears the noise and realizes what's going on, so he attacks Seok-do, but the big cop quickly disarms him and knocks him out. Although he's praised by the people for the save, the police department feels he applied too much force. At the office, the captain walks in, feeling upset because he's once again taken the heat for his officers. The captain then informs Seok-do that he'll be going to Vietnam. He asks why, so the captain reveals that one of the criminals they hunted down before has turned himself in to the Korean consulate, so now they have to go extradite him. As his partners express their interest to tag along, the captain bluntly tells them that he'll be going with Seok-do to make sure he doesn't cause any trouble. Moreover, he sees the 3 days they'll spend in Vietnam as a vacation, because he wouldn't have to do any work. Soon they arrive in Vietnam, but because they don't speak English, they're kept at the airport until the consulate officer, Mr. Park, arrives to sort them out. Seok-do is especially disappointed because he asked Captain John if he speaks English, and he said he is. After helping them get settled in their hotel, Mr. Park treats them to dinner at a nice food joint. And there, Seok-do befriends a Korean named Gasoline, who tells them about how dangerous the thugs in Vietnam are. The next day, Seok-do and his captain go over to the consulate office, where they interrogate the criminal named Jong-hoon who turned himself in. When he refuses to talk, Seok-do and the captain decide to try out some not-so-subtle methods of persuasion. He eventually reveals that one of his accomplices, JD, tried to kill him, so he was turned himself in to be safe from him. Jong-hoon gives them JD's address, and even though they don't have any jurisdiction in Vietnam, Seok-do and his captain go over to investigate and hopefully persuade JD to turn himself in so they can repatriate 2 criminals instead of 1. However, when they get there, they find out that JD has been killed. Seok-do immediately realizes that Jong-hoon lied to them, so he and his captain return to the consulate office to find out the truth. After another interrogation, Jong-hoon finally confesses that he was running from a dangerous man named Kang. He tells them the story of how they teamed up with Kang to kidnap Choi, the young man from a wealthy family. They had already taken all of Choi's money and planned how much they would demand the ransom when Choi escaped. They chased him through a field and caught him, so he promised them $200,000 and bars of gold if they spared him. Unfortunately, after he gave them the passcode to the safe in his hotel room, Kang killed him and his accomplice killed one of JD's men. Afterward, they realized just how ruthless Kang was. He even demanded a $500,000 ransom from Choi's father, knowing the guy was already dead. Jong-hoon finishes his story and reveals that he fears that Kang sent men to kill him, so that's the reason he turned himself in, hoping he'll be repatriated to Korea. Seok-do decides that he wants to bring Kang to justice, but because they're in Vietnam, it would take at least a month before they're granted a warrant to do any investigations or make any arrests. Regardless, Seok-do isn't willing to take no for an answer, so he goes over to the location where Jong-hoon told him they buried the bodies. Sure enough, after digging, they find Choi's body and the corpses of 2 other Korean tourists in body bags. Despite their discovery, the Vietnam police aren't pleased with their overstepping, so they warn them not to cross any more lines. Seok-do then contacts Gasoline to ask about Kang, and he informs him that a Korean thug named Raku is looking for Kang. A while later, Seok-do and his captain go to Raku's place. Raku and his thugs try to intimidate them, but Seok-do easily beats them up. There he finds out that some mercenaries from Korea came looking for Kang, and that's why Raku asked around for him. It turns out that the mercenaries were sent by Choi's father, a wealthy and ruthless loan shark in Korea. After finding $2 million in Kang's apartment, they send the money out and wait for Kang to return. When Kang and his partner return, they're ambushed, but they both kill all the mercenaries. When he realizes that the money is gone, he calls Choi's father and asks him to send it back, but he refuses, reminding him that he murdered his son and still collected the ransom money. Kang then tells Choi that he's coming to Korea to get the money himself. Not long after that, Seok-do and his captain go to Kang's apartment after getting the address, but they're attacked by Kang and his partner. Unfortunately, the captain gets seriously injured and Kang escapes. At the army hospital, the Vietnam police tell Seok-do and the captain that they're being deported for being a nuisance. However, they don't protest because they discover that Kang is already on his way back to Korea. As you'd expect, when they return to their country, their chief lambasts them for embarrassing the department in Vietnam. Even worse, Foreign Affairs is taking up the case. However, they inform him that Kang is back in Korea. They tell him how Choi's father is probably going to send mercenaries to kill Kang, and that's going to put the general public in danger, including the police. They eventually convince him, and he agrees to stall Foreign Affairs for a week, giving them a 7-day deadline to close the case. Later, they go over to meet Choi's mother, and they learn that he was the only child. They then receive a call that the car Kang was using has been found abandoned. Unfortunately, they don't have much luck when they get to it because it's completely wiped off prints. Elsewhere, Kang disguises himself as one of Choi's father's bodyguards. After killing the other bodyguard, he kidnaps the man. Meanwhile, he'd also invited some old friends, 2 dangerous brothers who help him kill the mercenaries that Mr. Choi hired to kill him. Afterward, he tortures Choi's father and sends the video to Choi's mother. She shows Seok-do and his colleagues the video of him asking for his $2 million as the ransom. However, nobody trusts Kang, so they ask Choi's mother to make a call suggesting a physical payment. The woman boldly talks with Kang and negotiates payment in cash, which he agrees to. He tells her not to try anything funny and not to involve the police, but we all know nobody ever listens to that. Afterward, Seok-do contacts a former gang leader named Jang Isu, whom he met in China a few years back, and forces him to pose as Choi's mother's driver for the operation. Meanwhile, the 2 mercenaries contact a sailor named Captain One-Eye to help them escape to China after they collect the ransom. Kang makes a plan for their operation, but they're both suspicious that he'd try to double-cross them. Seok-do and his team also make plans of their own. They get different cars to monitor Jang Isu and Choi's mother as they drive to the location. Kang instructs the brothers to tail her while he stays back with the hostage. Suddenly, he calls Choi's mother and asks her to turn around, hoping to find out if she's being escorted by the cops. Seok-do and the captain discover his plan and decide to send someone to track down Choi's father's car, which was used to kidnap him. One of the officers named Dong-hyun finds the car and finds Choi's father badly beaten. He tries to rescue him but gets stabbed by Kang, who escapes before the other police arrive. The brothers decide to take the money for themselves, but Jang Isu drives into an underground parking lot. Choi's mother runs upstairs to escape, but Jang stays with the car to secure the money, and he eventually escapes with it. 2 of Seok-do's partners arrest one brother in the parking lot, while Seok-do beats up the other and saves Choi's mother. Afterward, Kang tracks down Jang Isu, but he escapes, leaving him with some officers. Enraged and desperate, Kang spirals and stabs 2 of the officers to escape. Later, Jang Isu contacts One-Eye and asks for a boat to China. However, Kang found out on the news that Jang would flee to China, so he goes to One-Eye and asks for Jang's location. After finding and threatening Jang, Kang takes the money and gets on a bus to escape from town. Unfortunately for him, Seok-do set up a stop and search for all buses in a tunnel. Seok-do gets on the bus, and when he sees Kang sitting with a briefcase at the back, he politely tells all the passengers and the driver to get off the bus. Kang wears a smug look on his face, feeling he could defeat Seok-do. He offers to bribe the cop with Monsi, but Seok-do just calls him a lost cause and promises to give him a serious whooping. Pulling out a butcher's knife, Kang prepares to fight, and the epic showdown begins. Kang manages to cut Seok-do a few times but gets some of the heaviest punches ever in return. The tough cop tosses him around and beats him to a pulp before finishing it off with a mighty kick that sends him flying through the glass window. Kang doesn't give up but only gets beaten up some more. Finally, Seok-do knocks him out with a lethal punch and hands him over to the other officers. As expected, his captain is upset that he almost maimed the criminal, but overall, he's glad that they've finally caught the elusive Kang and secured the money. The story ends with Seok-do walking home, feeling accomplished that he's helped close another case. That's all for today's recap. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching and see you next time.